creator, we literally know now the exact odds directly from a YouTube executive, Wyatt, head of gaming at YouTube. He's telling us the total number of active gaming YouTube channels out there. Think in your head right now, we're gonna do this Price is Right. How many gaming YouTube channels do you think are active on the platform each month? Hint, it's way more than you thought. And now we also know how many channels hit 100,000 subscribers, how many hit 5 million subscribers, and how many hit 10 million subscribers specifically in gaming. So you can literally know what your odds are of success. We're gonna break that down for you today, and we're not gonna leave you high and dry without any tips to get there. And we're gonna talk about specific examples of channels that have grown from scratch, that have actually reached a full-time status. How did they do it? All those secrets and more revealed today on the Digital Job Podcast. Let's go! This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io? Ross, I know you're the best at numbers.
Thanks.
You did not struggle before this podcast started to even do basic calculations. So we have numbers on the screen here.
Yep.
That talk about the number of monthly active channels. Break down these numbers for us and reveal this insane and very transparent, thank you YouTube for sharing this, very transparent information in terms of how many tubers are out there and what your odds are of success.
That's fantastic. And yeah, and directly after this, I will be giving diet tips as well, since we're talking about things I'm horrible at. So looking at 40 million active right now YouTube gaming channels. Now, I did the math, if that's going to tell you if this could be completely wrong. But looking at these numbers, it is 1 out of every 525 will get 100,000 subscribers.
Okay, hit pause right there. Perrin, can you write that on the screen? One out of 120 or 525 have a chance of getting, or it's not have a chance, literally 1 out of 525 hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Let's just hit pause on that part of it for just a moment, because it's important to talk about the odds here. So this is of the monthly active channels on YouTube right now, not all-time channels that have ever tried it. Is that correct, Ross?
That is correct.
Got it. So based on this number right here, Perrin, 1 out of 525, do you feel that those odds are good, bad? Is this discouraging or encouraging to you as somebody who's building up your YouTube presence and building up your own business as a streamer?
Actually, these are surprisingly good odds. I thought they were going to be much worse. These are actually pretty good. Like this actually like tells me, it makes me at least feel like I've got a viable shot. I feel like 1 out of 525, I can compete versus 525 other people. That's not too hard. I actually felt like I was competing versus a lot more than that. And I think what we're missing here is this is active. This is missing out all the numbers of channels who have quit, who have given up. And so YouTube in this article with Wyatt gave us this 40 million number of people who are currently active, not including probably double or even triple the number of people who of that number who just gave up at some point. So this cuts it down and makes it, I think, a more of achievable goal. I mean, I think this is good. I think it's better than what I thought it would be.
I agree. And so Ross, if you get 100,000 subscribers, are you guaranteed to go full time?
No, you're not guaranteed. You can get a million subscribers and you're not guaranteed to go full time if you don't know what you're doing.
Right. You've got to have the business elements of it. And we're going to talk about those in a moment. We're going to talk about the business elements. I want to qualify it really quick. Just because you have a lot of followers doesn't mean that you have yet to monetize those followers effectively enough to go full time. And we're going to show a few examples in a moment of people that have monetized. I'm going to talk about how I have been monetizing my audience. And actually, Ross on this podcast, I'm going to be working with him on how to build a business out of his massive following on Twitter. It's important to know that you can build an audience, but the money just doesn't magically show up. And I think a lot of creators focus on that subs goal and they think, once I hit 100,000, I'm full time. No, you're not automatically full time. You have to build a business around it. You have to do revenue streams around it. Patreon, direct donations, YouTube channel memberships, YouTube ad revenue, super chats. You want to put together multiple revenue sources to diversify so that you can actually go full time as a tuber. So I want to qualify these numbers that we're showing you on the screen right now. 1 out of 525 hit 100,000 subs, but we're assuming that channels that hit 100,000 subscribers have a pretty decent shot if they monetize their channel well enough to go full time. You know, if they don't totally botch it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Cool. So let's talk about the next level of creator here, which is far more rare. Let's talk about that one. Ross, break down the numbers for us.
All right. 1 out of every 40,000 will reach 5 million subscribers.
1 out of every 40,000 gaming YouTubers, this is not just total YouTubers, gaming YouTubers, will hit 5 million subs. So we can assume, I think pretty fairly, if you hit 5 million subs, do you think you're probably going to be able to go full time, Ross?
Yeah, it's not going to be too difficult at that time. But check my math, because even that 1 out of every 40,000 seems, for 5 million subs, that seems like actually somewhat plausible. Not that you're actually going to make it, but it's a much better chance than I would have guessed.
It's better odds than I thought too. I'm really surprised to see this, Perrin. Are you surprised with this?
Math.
I thought it was going to be like 1 in a million.
Achievable. Like, yeah, I thought it was going to be like 1 in a million. It was going to be like really, really difficult. But 1 out of 40,000, I mean, it's not great, but it seems like there's a shot. There's a shot at it potentially happening, which I guess is what you would want to stay in the game. You want to know that, hey, I've got a shot at this, right? And that's what 1 out of 40,000 to me says, at least. I don't know what it says to anybody else watching, but to me, it says there's a shot.
I agree. And so I feel that if you hit 5 million subscribers on YouTube as a gaming YouTuber, if you blow everything and you like totally screw it up, you could still fall ass backwards into enough money through YouTube AdSense if you're monetizing your videos to probably go full time. Probably. However, there are so many YouTubers out there that have something like millions of subscribers, and they are still entirely relying on YouTube AdSense to support their business. And the issue with that, and I coach creators in the millions of subscribers on a regular basis, and the issue with relying on that YouTube AdSense revenue, which so many of these big gaming creators do once they get there, is once YouTube apocalypse number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 hit, which they will hit, because YouTube will have PR disasters in the future. I see Ross going,
It's impossible not to when you have this massive a platform. It's literally impossible not to.
That's right. That's right. And so these creators that have this 5 million range, they generally are way too reliant on their YouTube AdSense revenue for their business. So they need to diversify their revenue. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's go to the top tier, like these big boys here. Let's talk about the math on this. Ross, what are the odds that you become that big boy 10 million channel?
1 out of every 114,000. Essentially, it's like 114,285, but 114,000.
It's still not terrible odds. I can't believe it, man. I feel
like my math is really off on this, because I am expecting much more disastrous odds here.
Me too. I'm so surprised, Perrin. It seems achievable. Are you ready to get 10 million, buddy?
I mean, let's make a run for it. Can you compete with 114,000 other people? Honestly, I already thought I was. So like nothing has really changed and this with this data other than it makes it, I mean, it kind of makes it seem like it's doable. It's doable. I never expected 10 million subs. I guess that wasn't necessarily my goal, but 5 million, even that. And I know with that many subs, I can make the revenue work. So like, let's do this. These odds are great.
Just for comparison, I pulled this up. According to the Lottery USA, the odds of winning the Mega Millions jackpot are 1 in 302 million. You have a better shot at getting 10 million subscribers by a long shot than you do of winning the lottery.
Also, well, there you go. So the YouTubers, it's pretty much guaranteed. So obviously these odds, 1 in 525 seems achievable. 1 in, the other one was like 1 in 40,000 seems achievable, and 1 in 114,000 seems achievable. But I would probably compare these odds to something like becoming a famous actor in movies. I would like on the 10 million and 5 million side, I would compare this to being something like a rock star. And I think it's similar to those odds. I would guess that there are probably tens of millions of people out there trying to become a rock star, but only 1 out of 114,000 actually become Kid Rock or become, whoever is, at the peak of their time. And so overall, these odds are better than we thought they were, but they're still very, very rare. And it's still very, very low probability that you can achieve this 5 million subscribers or 10 million subscribers level in general. But that doesn't mean you can't go full time. And so I want to focus on this 100,000 subscribers level, this sort of like mid-tier creator level. And I want to talk about that with you guys because 1 in 525 gaming YouTubers can achieve that. That's far better than 1 in 40,000. So I asked you to pull up a couple examples of channels here that have a lower subscriber count, a lower viewership, Perrin, and let's break down some of the strategies they're doing. I guess we'll talk about my channel first. So I only have 42,000 subscribers, and if you look at my channel, you see my videos right now, hundreds of views. And if you look at some of my older videos have hundreds of thousands of views over time. And so you might be saying, there's no way this guy right here is full-time as a creator. And I'm here to tell you that this guy is full-time right now with only getting hundreds of views per video right now. So how is that possible? So it's possible by diversifying revenue and by being smart with business. So on my channel, what I do is I set up lots and lots of revenue streams that I can monetize my channel with. So for example, if you click one of these OBS videos, Perrin, like the tutorial video on OBS, and you guys can take notice on this, I do the tutorial video as short as possible. And at the very, very end of the video, if you scroll ahead to the end, I do a call to action for people to book me for coaching. And so this video is monetized by a way that people can give me money immediately as soon as the video is over. So that's one method: consulting, freelancing, direct donations. This is a strategy that you guys can use with your content if you want to better monetize the viewership that you have on your channel. Okay, option number 2, if you look at one of my more recent videos here, Andrew Perrin, on my channel, I've been doing some TubeBuddy related tutorials that let's see if they've released yet, at the very top. Yeah, see the ones with the TubeBuddy logo? Click those. And here's some videos I did on TubeBuddy where I say, should you put text in your thumbnail? So obviously I'm not telling you to make this kind of video. I'm telling you I've got this sort of monetization going, where in this video, I've got a link in my description below, which is an affiliate link to TubeBuddy. And when people click that affiliate link, I get a percentage of the revenue for if anybody wants to download and use that particular product. So why is that important for you guys to understand? Gamers out there are companies that do creator codes, like Epic Games does creator codes with Fortnite. Supercell does creator codes as well. And also, I don't know if you guys have ever used, say, anything for sale on Amazon. If you use anything in your videos, webcams, microphones, headphones, monitors, gaming consoles, controllers, DX racer chairs, gunner glasses, whatever it is, all of that stuff is on Amazon. And you can also do Amazon Associates as an affiliate marketing model to stack on top of your business. And the third method I wanted to highlight of how people like me that have a relatively small viewership but are making enough money to actually go full time is Patreon. I used to have a Patreon on my YouTube channel where at the end of every video I had one call to action and I told people to go to my Patreon if they wanted to be a part of my community and they wanted more proximity with me. Everybody out there watching the broadcast right now can do that. If you want more proximity with me and you want to do private live streams, go to my Patreon and donate. If you want me to sign a piece of merchandise and send it to you, go to my Patreon and support me. If you want to be a part of one-on-one conversations with me, go to my Patreon and support me. And all of you guys, gaming creators out there, can use that as a revenue source to build your business. Why am I talking about direct donations and freelancing? Why am I talking about Patreon? Why am I talking about affiliate? So it's really important. Actually, I'm going to ask Perrin and Ross and see if they actually pay attention to what I say on the podcast. Ross, why do I talk about those monetization methods? And why am I not talking about Twitch subs and bits? Why am I not talking about super chats? Why am I not talking about YouTube AdSense? Why am I mentioning these other methods instead of those?
Well, for multiple reasons. It diversifies your revenue. Obviously, that's one of the biggest reasons. If you're just relying on one source of income, whether that be just from Google Ads or just from getting donations on Twitch, you're actually doing yourself an incredible disservice. And not to mention, a lot of times, those platforms actually take a really big chunk of that. So Patreon does too, but it's just another avenue to increase your revenue.
Patreon, that was partially correct. So I
don't pay
was talking
attention
about
to you.
Patreon because Patreon only takes 10% of your revenue. It's okay. You were correct. But one part that I wanted to highlight, Patreon only takes 10% of your revenue, whereas Twitch takes 50%. Patreon only takes 10% of your revenue, whereas YouTube takes 30% of your revenue when it comes to channel memberships and super chats. Also, if you get direct tips and donations and bookings, you get 97.5% of that revenue, whereas Twitch is taking 50%, YouTube's taking 30%. And with Amazon affiliate revenue, you're just getting all of the commissions off of that sale, and YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and Bezos aren't dipping their hands in on your revenue. So those are revenue sources that you can use across all platforms, and there isn't some social media middleman taking revenue away from you when you're doing those. There's a comment here in chat right now, by the way, with Tom Nash. He's saying that he went full-time with only 15,000 subscribers, which is a great example of somebody who's really good at monetizing their channel and building their business. And he did it, I believe, through freelancing and consulting on Fiverr. And Perrin, I know you're familiar with freelancing and consulting. I've heard that you literally do that for a living. So how could one use their online presence as a gaming YouTuber and maybe make some money? You doing freelancing and consulting? How is that even possible?
It's actually really easy. I mean, think of all the skills that you have as being a creator, making thumbnails, editing videos, doing graphics, voiceover stuff, doing tutorials on how to, there's so many skills that you need to be a successful creator that a lot of other types of businesses really need those, especially right now when a lot of people need to work from home and at least in the United States, that's still in a pandemic environment. So with all of those skills, you can actually just find people that need those and you just charge them a decent hourly rate for it. That's called consulting. You know, there's something here when Tom Nash is talking about 15,000 subs. We've talked about this on previous episodes. We talked about the concept of true fans. And there used to be a theory that you only needed 1,000 true fans to make a living as a creator on the internet. Now, that's being upgraded to maybe even 100. It's getting smaller and smaller, the amount of dedicated, loyal fans that you need to be able to help monetize you to make a living. And that's because creators are finding more diverse ways to monetize, and they're providing their true fans with value, directly value that they want. And sometimes that is a consulting type relationship. Sometimes that is, hey, I'm just going to help you with your channel and provide you direct advice, or I'm going to help you just personally set up your live stream. I'll remote desktop in, and I'll just directly help you with it, and I'll charge a rate for that. So there are so many different ways that creators are finding to work with their dedicated fans and provide them actual services, as well as content, entertainment, access, all of the usual things. So we just think of this as a creator. You should need less and less true fans to make a living off of it.
That totally makes sense. So let's talk about the next example here that we had. When we had Globku as another example. And so this is for gaming content creators. This is a gaming channel, right? But I wanted to highlight this one in particular because it covers a very, very specific niche. And so we always talk about on this podcast how you need to dive in to you need to experiment with content on YouTube so that you can find your niche. And then once you find your niche, you double down on that. And that's precisely what Globku did here. He covers the niche not of gaming overall, or gaming news, or gaming reviews, or top 10s. He covers the niche of games that are specifically anime-themed games. And that's it. So he dove in and capitalized on a subtopic within gaming that was undercovered. And he ended up creating high-quality content in this area. And now he's getting tens of thousands of views per video. And he was able to go full-time. But this is a guy that only has 140-something thousand subscribers. But one thing I'd like to point out here is, yes, he found his niche, but he has monetization methods on top of it. If you scroll up to the top of his page, look at that. You can go premium on Patreon. So do you see how these mid-tier creators know how to diversify their revenue? I taught him how to do this, by the way. But you see how they know how to monetize their channels? He's got premium bush, powerful bush, supreme bush, and he's diversifying his revenue, and he's making more money off of Patreon as yet another revenue stream to support his mid-tier channel. You see how this helps? You see how this can help sustain your business? This is what the smart creators that are going full-time actually do. If he was relying entirely on his YouTube revenue, he probably would be screwed. Anything you guys want to add here to what Globku's doing that people could kind of take away and really understand?
I mean, I've always thought that Globku's thumbnail game is like on point, next level. Like his thumbnail game is so good, and you can tell he knows when to not put text on it versus like when to put text, when to like make it bigger or change the colors of it, or like here in this one he doesn't even need text because he just has the X on the PlayStation 4. I always go to his example for thumbnails when I'm like forgetting how to do thumbnails right. I just go check out Globku's channel and see what he's doing, because he's got the formula down and every single thumbnail is super clickable.
I mean, it's just such gorgeous thumbnails.
Dude, just Ross wants to date these thumbnails.
I may ask them out after the show.
Wow. So one thing I'd like to point out about these thumbnails, can you zoom in even more so folks that are watching on mobile or whatever, like just really dial it in. Let's just take a look at a handful here. Here we go. So the reason why a lot of these thumbnails work, by the way, Globku was taught by the thumbnail master. His name is Jonathan Moxness. He runs the TGN channel. He taught me how to do thumbnails. He taught Globku how to do thumbnails. Here are some key things you can take away from these gaming YouTuber thumbnails, guys. Pull out your freaking notepad right now, okay? So number one, he's using a repeatable format for his thumbnails that he can do over and over and over again. Every thumbnail you see on the screen, he's already done one like that in the past, okay? Number two, he has no more in almost all thumbnails than 3 total elements in the thumbnails. Write that down, everybody. 3 total elements in the thumbnails. I always talk about this. I didn't make that up. That Jonathan Moxness made that up and told me it works. And then I saw the results, how we blew up YouTubers out of nowhere and our own channels out of nowhere, and it works. So what do I mean by 3 total elements? So let's take a look at this Ultra Instinct Goku has changed whatever thumbnail on the right there. It says 3 elements. Number 1 is the character there. Number 2 is the text. And number 3 is the background. And that is literally it for the entire thumbnail. 3 total elements. Now, there are some exceptions where he will do 4 elements. I would say in general, thumbnails that have 4 or 5 elements in them perform weaker than the ones that only have 3. And that's just in general. So try to reduce your thumbnails to 3 elements. Person or character or face or thing, text, and background. And so all of you gaming YouTubers out there that are looking for like, what is a great thumbnail format? Do what we do what Perrin does. Go to this channel. Globku is the channel. Look at his beautiful big natural thumbnails. And take inspiration from the simplicity and how it communicates value so effectively. Look at his titles as well. Do you see how short the titles are? They're all under 50 characters. So he spends a lot of time editing down these titles to something that you can read without a ... at the end. That just at a glance, as somebody's scrolling through their phone, you can see all the value up front. You know what I mean, guys? Anything else to take away from this? I mean, this is a mastery. He has mastered how to capitalize on this niche. And I feel that with these skills, Globku could go cover other niches too and crush it. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
100%,
I mean, yeah, Globku, I mean, he's got this channel. I think he would have to break out another channel if he were to diversify out of the anime niche, but he could crush it because he knows the main formula and how important titles and thumbnail are. And if you conquer titles and thumbnails on YouTube, you find a niche that works, I mean, that's it. That's how you make your way. And so I imagine he could pretty much apply that to whatever he wants to if he wanted to find another niche or 2 out there.
That makes sense. And Ross, there was a question in chat here, and I'm wondering if you could answer this. One person asked, Lucian Fox Gaming asked this question: which platform should a new streamer stream to? Was his question. And I wanted to know if you had an answer of a company that literally pays you money to answer that question.
Quite literally is paying us money right now. Don't stream to just one. Start on all of them. Find out which one works for you using Restream.io. Why focus and stream on one platform when you can grow on every platform using Restream? Use promo code DROP1 for 30% off your first month. And in no time, you can be streaming to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Gaming, Trovo, DLive, Twitter, every other platform under the sun, most that you probably haven't even heard of. Go click the link. It's in the description. If you're watching live, it's in the comments. Stream to all of them, figure out which one works for you, and then if you decide later on to go exclusive, do it. But don't limit yourself to just one platform streaming starting off.
Thank you. And now I'm really putting you in the hot seat today, Ross. I need you to wrap this up. Recap those numbers for everybody, and let's recap those takeaways. So, Perrin, you have to recap the takeaways, and then Ross, you have to recap the numbers. Okay, I'm giving Ross numbers because he's terrible with numbers. So watch him suffer. Recap the numbers for me.
All right, 40 million total active gaming channels on YouTube. 1 out of every 525 will get 100,000 subscribers. 1 out of every 40,000 will reach 5 million subscribers. And 1 out of every 114,285 will reach that 10 million subscriber mark. Wow. Actually, we were all kind of taken back by how good these odds actually are in the grand scheme of things.
Made the odds be in your favor, Hunger Games style, but this time well, they aren't, but they're better than we thought. Perrin, so what is the takeaway here with this? Like, sure, we just threw a bunch of numbers at people, but what are the key things they should remember from all the jibba jabba we said today?
I think the key things are that this journey you're on as a creator is achievable, and it's good to have a good idea of what your competition is going to be. And then taking notes from those who have done it successfully, you don't necessarily need to hit these subscriber milestones to monetize. You need to diversify your revenue in as many ways as you can, understand the concept of true fans, and be great at the basics. Be great at thumbnails, titles, and finding your niche. And those will help you get to this point and achieve the odds that are better than I think we all thought they were.
Perfect. I love it. See you guys tomorrow on the Digital Drop Podcast.